I hope you're all going well. So to start this video, I would like to say a huge thank you to everyone involved in organising events such as this one at the Astor Theatre. The Astor is very close to my home. I've been going there for as long as I can remember. I've attended similar events such as seeing Flash Gordon with Sam J. Jones, or seeing the Queen of Martial Arts, aka Cynthia Rothrock. If you've also had good experiences with the Astor in the past, or if there are any events of theirs you plan on attending in the future, please feel free to comment down below. And without further ado, let's get into the video. Starting off with a fit check, the white shirt and black pants are from Kmart, the blazer and tie are from Shein, and the boots are of course Demonia's. I'm not sure whether you can see my earrings well from afar, but when you look closely they are kind of related to John Wick as well. I got this one from eBay. I searched up Death Note earrings and it was one of the first ones to come up. And this one is probably from Wish or eBay as well. So I just sprayed more blood on my face and I don't know, I feel like I'm kind of giving more Carrie or Billy's a puppet than John Wick, but either way, hopefully people will see the pencil and recognise the costume. I forgot to mention earlier, but I got my fake blood from Discount Party Warehouse. It washes off both the skin and the clothes very easily. Here are some close-up photos. It looks so awesome and there will be no sign of it by the next day. Complete the John Wick look, I've also got a pencil for anyone who tries to hurt my capybara or any of my other animals because I love them very much. This little cappy is from Sydney Zoo. If you can't tell, capybaras are my favourite animals. I have also got tattoos of them on my forearm. And yeah, hence the name Capybara. Book capybara encounters where you can go and defeat the cappies, so I would definitely recommend doing that if you are ever visiting Sydney. Anyways, enough about the capybara hype for now, and back to Mark Dacascos hype.
Let's thank the man, let's bring him out. Please be outstanding. Give a round of applause to Mark Dacascos! 1992, and a film called American Samurai was flying off the shelves of Blockbuster back then. Oh, I miss Blockbuster. I miss those days. I know Dan Downs misses Blockbuster.
What is Blockbuster?
That was flying off the shelves, American Samurai. The cover featured David Bradley with a katana, but also the words, introducing martial arts sensation Mark Dacascos. I remember that cover. I remember those words. I'm sure you all do as well. Tell me about American Samurai and how you landed that role and how Mark Dacascos became the newest martial arts sensation there.
Thank you. Okay, I auditioned for American Samurai and they gave me, I think, 2 or 3 massive dialogue scenes to audition with, and then they wanted to give you some martial arts in the audition. So I asked them if it was okay if I do the martial arts first, because knowing how I am, if I'm physical, I feel more relaxed. So I had my friend James Liu. James Liu, I don't know if you guys saw Luke Cage, a TV series. James Liu was the stunt coordinator, fight choreographer for Luke Cage, and won an Emmy Award for that series. We're good friends. I didn't have a sword. I borrowed James's sword. Okay? So we do the audition. I'm twirling the sword around. If I'm talking like this, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I have the sword in the audition. I'm going, wow, 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 wow. And I'm feeling good. The last move, I spin it around and I go. And this move right here, you slide the hand on the top of the sword, right? Boom. And I'm feeling good about the audition. And I see the casting people and the producers looking at me, and then their mouths are going. What happened was, James's sword was also sharp on the top side.
Oh.
So when I did this, they saw my bone and my tendon half severed. Right? And they said, Mark, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. You have some tape? So they gave me some tape. I put tape here. and then proceeded to do some back handsprings, and they hurt, but the adrenaline's running, so I finished it. I still had to do the dialogue scene, but it was good because adrenaline, pain, you know, and wanting to roll. So you're passionate, and I did it. Before I even got to the hospital to get sewn up, my agent called, or actually I called her and told her what happened, and she told me it's okay, everything worked out, they offered me the role. And yeah, so that's how I got it.
And that's how you become a last sensation. You haven't been seen before in Capoeira. How did Only the Strong come about for you, and how was it we got a film about Capoeira?
Thank you. So, I just finished American Samurai. I come back to America, and my girlfriend and I are having emotional problems. And I'm heartbroken, and I needed to shake myself out of despair. A good friend of mine, also a martial artist, one of my training partners, had been telling me about Capoeira and this brilliant teacher in Santa Monica for years. So finally, I got the energy up to go down and check the school out. It was at, he had this hangar for his school in the Santa Monica airport. I remember pulling up, getting out of the car, and then hearing that, this is cool, right? I walk into the hangar, and I literally see bodies flying and twirling, and big smiles, moving on the ground. I signed up that day. That was in November. Started training, loving it, felt better about myself. And then in January, 3 months later, my agent, my manager gets a call for this movie about, and she pronounced it like this, Capoeira. She goes, you know anything about this? And I said, actually, Jacqueline, I do. I've been taking classes for 3 months. And so I auditioned, and I was fortunate, I got the role. Wow. So life. Life.
All the moves you did on the Strong, all the kicks, there were no wires, it was all legit moves?
No wires, no CGI, no stuntman for me in that movie.
It was all Dacascos.
It was me.
Wow.
Yeah, thank you. But you know, this is the thing. To this day, I'm still a beginner in Capoeira. When we did that movie, I had just gotten my first cord, like my first belt. That was a yellow cord. I was so proud of that. And then we did the movie, and I started getting some traction as an actor, and never was able to go back and continue Capoeira on a consistent basis. So the most training I had was, oh my gosh, I'm 59 now. I did that movie when I was 20. So it's been 31 years since I had consistent training, but I still love it. And my capoeira teacher, Mestra Amen Santo, who taught me in real life, is my actual teacher in the movie. And now, my classmate Tara over here and I, we are, we studied with this incredible teacher named Patsy Rodenberg, Shakespeare, voice, speech, and presence. We became certified after a 2-year program in July. And Amen, my capoeira teacher, is now one of my students in voice and presence and speech. So life comes around,
The circle of life.
Circle of life.
And
thank you.
it's a strange those of you that we have seen bits and pieces of Capoeira in other films, but no one's really done another Capoeira film as such as Only the Strong.
Yeah, I think there were 1 or 2 other movies featuring Capoeira, but I think what happened was they focused so much on the action and not enough on the story and the relationships, and I think that's the key, right? I mean, action is wonderful, but what is, like Bruce Lee would say, what is the emotional content? I go back to the original Karate Kid movie, and I don't know, have you guys seen some of that? I mean, some of it, right? And I loved it because, you look at the choreography compared to what people are doing now, and it was simple, but it didn't matter because Miyagi-san, I mean, he cared, and Ralph Macchio's character, what was
Daniel LaRusso.
Daniel LaRusso, yes. they had something to fight for. The relationships were intact. So even when you just did that little boom, it was like, yeah! Amazing! Outstanding! Right, outstanding! Right? I mean, so it's like that emotional content, you know? I mean, when you look at Bruce Lee's movies, and compared to what, you know, Jackie Chan did, 87-11, action and all that, you know, it's very basic. But I think what Mr. Bruce Lee had was that passion and that storytelling in every punch and look. And I think that's the thing, is that if we just rely on action, then we don't build the audience. Because the clips that I've seen of these other Capoeira movies, the movies were amazing. But after a few seconds, you want to feel something, as opposed to just going, wow, that's really cool. Okay. Does that make sense?
It does. You have to be emotionally invested to win your audience. And I think only the strong Karate Kid is a great example of audiences being invested in the movie, and which makes it so replayable. As I said, even now, 30 years later, you can still watch Only the Strong like you're watching it for the first time. A year later, you star in Double Dragon, which has developed quite a cult following. You look at that film now and you think, God, what a cheesy 90s film, but it's like a guilty pleasure to watch it, right? It's like you want to watch it, it's a guilty pleasure. You don't want to tell anyone you're watching it. You watch it. You download it. You stream it. It looked like it was a lot of fun to make.
It was a blast. I actually did Double Dragon right after The Strong. So, you know, for Only the Strong, director Sheldon Lettich wanted me to bulk up a little bit. So, probably the most I've ever weighed was Only the Strong. We had to put on 15 pounds, and I was eating 6 meals a day and doing a 2-hour week workout 6 days a week, capoeira every day, and then acting classes. You know, but I loved it. But after Only the Strong, I then broke to Double Dragon, and so I dropped 15 pounds. And then just did body weight exercise and just tried to look, you know, I was 28 at the time, tried to look 19, you know? So you drop the weight and just did, you know, yoga and stretching and got that attitude, you know, the bangs and but it was great. It was fun. Yeah. But we had Robert Patrick, we had a Terminator in the movie, you know? It was amazing. And Alyssa Milano is just a fun group of people. Julian Nixon, I mean, like the cast was outstanding!
Brando. And I've got to ask, what was it like working with Brando? Because we hear different stories of what Brando was like with crew members, with fellow cast members, and we are talking about arguably the greatest character actor of all time. What was it like being in the presence and working with Marlon Brando?
Amazing. And I have to thank him because I played, in the movie, I played his first son. Half leopard, half human, of course. So, but he came 2 weeks late because he's Marlon Brando. I would check into the office, production office, am I working today? Oh, well, Mr. Brando's not in the country. This country, Australia, right? Because we shot at the Cairns. Come the next day, am I working today? Well, we think he's coming into Sydney, but we're not sure. Working today. Anyway, this goes on for 2 weeks. So my wife, then she was then my fiance, we got certified, you know, we got certified as scuba divers because he was 2 weeks late. So we had time for that. So I thank him for that. You know? Now, working with him was amazing, just because, you know, being a fan of Marlon Brando, he's got this energy. And even the first day, so he had, when he did his first monologue, he had a earplug, and it was wired to his assistant, who was behind the scenes, feeding him his lines.
Right, I wanted to ask you about that, because that's the ultimate urban myth, was that he never read a script and it was all fed to him.
Yeah, I mean, he may have, because, you know, he did plays before that, but when we got him, he had all his lines fed to him, right? So he's doing his close-up, and I remember everybody else was released, but David Thewlis, Val Kilmer, Tim Morrison, myself, we all stayed because we're like, this is freaking Mr. Marlon Brando. And you know, piercing blue eyes, great face, and he's so present. And he's sitting there, and he had this white alabaster makeup on and some weird.
And he was really big at that time, Brando was huge, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He got big, and there's a funny little story because he decided that he wanted to change wardrobe, right? From what the costume designers had designed, and he wanted to wear this big sheet, right?
It's a big white sheet.
Big white sheet. The problem was when the sun hit the white sheet, you could see the it's everywhere, right? So my fiance, Julie, comes up and says, "We want to date, so he also underwear." And I went, I don't know what, but I can't do that. She goes, "Well, I'll come." I said, "No." She walks over to him, right? And I see them talking, and he's like, you know? And then she comes back to me and goes, "Well, I told him," and he said, "Thank you." And from that, after that, he wore white boxers and stuff.
Wow.
So,
Freaking godfather.
there you go. But you know, I remember this other time when Marlon, he was on this, in between camera setups, he wanted to talk about the Black Plague in England. And it must have been for 10 to 15 minutes. It was just random. We're sitting there, waiting for cameras to move, and then he and he starts doing this, and we're like, where's he going with this? And then he just goes off on this tangent, and it was amazing. And he stops, and it was over. And everybody's like, but we loved it. So he was amazing.
Kilmer, working alongside Val.
Kilmer, my wife is very proud to say that he almost ran the road.
Almost ran the road.
Yes, Val Kilmer at the time, and so I was down there for a month. He never said hello or good morning, not just to me, but apparently to a lot of the other people because, I don't know, all actors have their styles, right? But I have to say, I love Val Kilmer's work, and I think he's amazing. But at that time, he was on a video camera all the time. He always had his video camera. We had a little cast party, and he had his video camera. And then I remember when Julie and I were walking back to our car, she was ahead of me. His Jeep came down the road, and he swerved, and it looked like it was going to hit her. So she moved out of the way, and just goes on, and no wave or anything. We still love him, but it was very interesting. That's all I have to say. It was very interesting. But he's lovely. He seems, I love his movies.
In 1998, you played the lead role in the Pro TV series. It lasted for 22 episodes. I thought it was awesome. The Crow originally played by Brandon Lee, of course. Did you ever get a chance to interact with Brandon when he was alive?
Yes. Okay, so I'll just give a little bit of history. My father and mother were Kung Fu teachers. And when Bruce Lee was teaching in the Bay Area of California in late 60s, my father was the only other Kung Fu teacher teaching non-Asians Chinese Kung Fu. And what happened to Bruce Lee, the Chinese seniors trying to shut his school down, they tried to do that to my father as well, and it didn't work. And then my father and Bruce met at the tournament, became friends. When Bruce Lee passed away, Linda Lee, his wife, asked my parents to go on a big worldwide tour with her, and they became friends. And then I met Brandon and Shannon when we were all 9 and 10 years old. And then I didn't see Brandon for years until I don't know how. I think he did one or two of his movies, and we met on Sunset Boulevard at this club. And we said hello, and he was lovely. And then cut to after Only the Strong, before Double Dragon, I'm in New Mexico or Arizona, and my manager calls up and she says, you need to sit down. And I said, okay. And I sat down, and she gave me the horrible news that I was passing.
Of course, DMX. How did you find working with Jet Li? What were his martial arts skills like?
Oh man, Jet was phenomenal. I spent weeks and weeks the last fight scene. He never came to rehearsal because he didn't need to. He learned it on the day. Crazy. He saw what we were doing. Fu Yuan, our fight choreographer, did a pre-visual, so we had it on video so Jet could see it. But he's so brilliant. He just looks at it, locks it, and then we do it. And it was amazing. He's so fast. You kick, I punch. Okay. he blocked all the kids with one hand. Wow. He was amazing.
How was DMX?
DMX was brilliant. You know, really nice. He was doing the music for the movie at the same time as shooting. You know, so that was difficult because, you know, the actor would get a 12-hour turnaround, and he's working all the way through the night, acting and music. So, you know, scheduling got complicated. It was great. Scheduling got complicated. It was great.
Here's a question mark I'd like to ask every Hollywood martial artist I interview, and I get varied answers, and no doubt many people know this question that I asked infamously to Steven Seagal many years ago. You can see it on pretty much every documentary on Steven Seagal these days on YouTube. If you're in a street fight and you have to have one of the Hollywood martial arts star by your side to have your back, who are you choosing? Who's the most legit Hollywood tough guy out there you would want by your side in a street fight? I know it's a hard question.
Living or dead, anyway.
You know what? We won't say dead, we'll say living. And you can have them at their peak. So if you're choosing Chuck Norris, he doesn't have to be 88 years old, it can be Chuck at his peak, but so long as they're living.
You know, you see Chuck when he was competing, he was brilliant.
He was doing kickboxing and karate, world champion, it was amazing. Those old Joe Louis days, it was incredible.
Return of the Dragon. Oh my goodness. You know, there are a lot of the guys, I mean, well, Don Wilson's the real deal, right? Don Wilson knocked out 8 people, right? So, I mean,
My answer to this question is always Michael Jai White. I think Michael Jai White is the most legit.
He's huge and
right? Legit. But I'm not going to let you sit on the fence. I'm going to have you name someone.
Well, my first choice would be Bruce Lee.
I know Bruce is the obvious choice, but I'm not allowing you to say Bruce Lee.
Man,
It's a tough one.
I will tell you next year.
It is a tough question.
Yeah.
It is a tough question.
Yeah.
Maybe the Jet. Maybe the
Jet
Jet.
was a real fighter too. He's amazing.
Yeah, but the Jet's legit. Dolph Lundgren, big, legit, Kyokushin karate, awesome. There's a lot of specimens out there.
I don't know. I have to really, you know, logistics. Because where are we fighting? You know what I mean? Like, what's the space?
Right.
Are we fighting in a bus? Because then the dog is you know what I mean?
True.
Yeah, but if we're on a football field, golf would be good. Michael's got right to, right?
True.
If we're in a phone booth, oh, they don't have movies anymore. If we're in a bathroom, maybe you want Jet. I don't know.
It's a tough question. I'm going to let you think on that one. Street Rollers, Zero, opposite Keanu Reeves. Now, I've got to ask, we're always reading about Keanu Reeves as the most awesome person, the most altruistic person in Hollywood, a regular human being who seemingly catches the subway. We've all seen the meme of Keanu Reeves on the subway. Is it true what they say about Keanu Reeves? Is he just this most amazing, down-to-earth guy? How was Keanu?
In my experience, 3 months of night shoots in New York with Keanu Reeves. He's amazing.
I'm so glad to hear that.
He's amazing. He's amazing. I'll share this little story. I told Tara earlier this afternoon, but when we started that final fight scene, right? Keanu had already worked, I don't know, 8 or 9 hours, and then I came in to finish the last 3 or 4 hours with some of my close-ups. And when Keanu was about to leave, Chad said, "Hey, Keanu, wait a second. Change your plan." Keanu stops. And this is like with 150, 200 crew members around because we're trying to figure out what we're doing. And Chad says to Keanu, in front of everyone, I'd like you and Dacascos to start your fight tonight. And Keanu says, what? The fight. When? Tonight. Oh. So Keanu just shuffles over to the corner. Everybody's looking what's going to happen. And then the letter will tell you the whole word. He goes like this. Okay.
By the way, later on, can you give Dan Doubts Keanu's number, because we should bring up Keanu Reeves. We've been talking so much about action films. It would be remiss of me, and my wife would physically harm me, if I didn't ask you about Iron Chef. Woo! Iron Chef is awesome. And how does Mark Dacascos, the kick-ass martial arts action star, end up on a cooking show as the chairman?
Interestingly, so my wife was watching the original Iron Chef from Japan, right? And I remember walking through the living room and seeing a close-up of this blade going through a tomato in slow motion, right? Squirt, squirt, slice, and I stopped and I was mesmerized. What did you watch? No, Iron Chef. 45 minutes later, I watched the whole show, right? I got hooked as well. Cut to a couple months later, my manager gets a call from the Food Network, and they wanted to bring me in for a possible new chairman of Iron Chef America. And so when my manager told me this, I said, I didn't mean it as a joke, but I said, I kick, I don't cook. Different vowel, right? And she goes, they don't care, they want to just meet you. So I went into the meeting, and they were talking about their version of the show, and I said, you know, I've never taken cooking lessons. I'm a very simple eater, but maybe it could be interesting to bring them martial passion and excitement and intensity, you know, as if it was a cooking day, bring it to a cooking battle. You know? I just thought, you know, throw it out there, and they're like, oh. And then 3 days later, we get the call, and they invited me as the new chairman. And I asked as well, how did they even get me on the list? And apparently somebody at Fuji in Japan liked Brotherhood of the Wolf, this French movie I worked on, and they said put him on the list for Iron Chef, and that's all I know. So, but they fed me well.
This is a question for every bloke in the room. What was it like to work with Michael Bellucci? It had to be.
The best was in the morning, you know, because we're the same makeup trailer. They always try to get there early, maybe she's coming in. And she comes in with her ruffled hair, no makeup, you know, sunscreen, Italiano. Bonjour. I remember we were going to do this other project together, and she left a voice message back when there was a voice message machine. I kept that on for 6 months. She was wonderful. And then my wife, right? I'm always talking about Monica. Yeah, she works in the Italian language, she works in the French language, she works in the English language, and she does this and that. And Julie, you know, well, she's good, but she's not all that. Cut to, Monica comes to LA, and she's getting ready to have her first kid, and wants to have lunch with Julie, because we already had a couple kids by then. And Julie said, okay, so we'll have lunch, and she seemed nice. She goes down, she has lunch, just the two of them. I pick Julie up, and we're driving home. Quiet. And then she goes, she's all that.
If every one of your movies were destroyed in a fire, but only one could remain for you to show your grandkids one day, only one.
You're naughty.
I asked that questions, man.
You're naughty.
Which one movie would you hope remained to show the grandkids one day? Only one.
You know, because I met my wife on Crying Freeman, I would normally say that. But our own kids saw the movie, and And they're like, oh, that's so old-fashioned. So the grandkids would probably, not be into it. So maybe only the strong.
Yeah. That's what Granddad could do back in the day. All right. By the way, when you're out and about these days, what do you most get recognised for still? Is it Iron Chef? Is it Only the Strong? Is it something else? Is it John Wick? What do you most get recognised for?
It kind of varies, but it usually happens like a lot of people, they don't know the name, but when somebody comes up, it's usually like, I don't know if I want the money or, so I don't really go, are you? And I've heard somebody asked me if I was Brandon, like 4 or 5 years after. I've had Don.
Oh, you got Don.
I've had Jet Li. I've had Jackie Chan. I've had George Takei from Star Trek. So I never know what they're going to say. Sometimes, Iron Chef is a lot. Only Strong. But it also depends on if I have my shaved head or if I have facial hair or whatever I'm doing. But yeah, it varies.
Hello, Thai fan. Says via the app. My question mark. Your performance as the Crow was, in my opinion, the best interpretation of the character since Brandon Lee.
Thank you, Thai fan.
How do you feel the legacy of the film is being handled, and do you know anything about the upcoming film?
Okay, I had seen Ed Pressman, the original producer of all the shows, a few years back, and I knew it was happening, but I don't know anything about the new story. Ed Pressman's son texted me, we talked a little bit, so we'll catch up when I get back to LA. But I knew that it was going to be Jason Momoa for a while. But other than that, I don't. But I can't say that I saw James O'Barr, the writer of The Crow, in it was Texas about a month ago. And if you guys ever get a chance to meet him, he is lovely, and you see how he put his heart into that story. You know that he lived a lot of that. But in spite of all the dark, somehow he still gave me some hope, right?
Yes.
When somebody who's passed loves somebody so much, they come back. That's The Crow.
In John Wick, how long do they actually film you doing a scene in the fighting on? Is it all one action scene and you don't stop? Or do you do like 2 minutes and then they stop and then another 2 minutes and then stop?
It's actually sequence and shot dependent. For the finale fight scene in John Wick 3, last building, Keanu and myself, we shot that over the course of a month, but it wasn't consecutive. We started, we do 2 or 3 days consecutively, and then we stopped for 2 or 3 days, shoot Grand Central Station or Times Square, then come back to that. But yeah, it all depends on what Chad wanted in the sequence. Sometimes it's long shots, 6, 7, 8, maybe 10 moves, sometimes just 4 or 5. And we had structure of the whole fight, but Chad is infamous, notorious for changing that structure along the way. For example, that fight scene, we broke for lunch, and our lunch was at maybe 1 in the morning because it was a night shift, right? So we go in at 6 o'clock and work until 6 in the morning. And so we're about to break. We did break, and Chad's there, but we come back. And he says, Dacascos. Yes, sir. I like the lights over here, so okay. Me too. He says, can you give me a sequence of 5 kicks before you and Keanu go through the glass? And I said, yes, sir. I said, when would you like that? He goes, 5 minutes. Okay, so like in the certain space, you have to go this direction. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I figure out the sequence. I asked the stunt double who's going to the last to practice with me. We do that. We present it to Keanu. Keanu likes it. We present it to Chad, and then 6 minutes later we're shooting it. You know, so a lot of things happen on the day. You've got that structure and then you deviate. And you just have to, go in prepared. You know, and that's the thing is that for John Wick 3, for that particular part, because I was going to play, I was going to do a cameo role in Morocco with Halle Berry and Keanu over there. And then I get this text from Chad on a Sunday. Right? So basically, I'm not supposed to work until the fall, but in June, on Sunday, I get a text from Chad Stahelski. Hey, Dacascos, call me tomorrow. Okay, I'll call him the next day. Hey, Chad, what's up? Can I help you? He said, I hope so. What's going on? He goes, yeah. The actor that we had for the lead bad guy, he's out. Oh, I'm sorry. But Keanu and I would like to invite you to play the lead bad guy. I said, he says, read the script first. I said, no need to. Yes, you do. So he sends a script. I love it. I call back. I say, fantastic. Are you okay if I play around with the character a little bit? He says, absolutely, collaboration. I said, great. I said, when can you meet me out there? He says, tonight. I'm in LA. He's in New York. I'm like, yes, sir. Our agents make the deal. I get on a red eye. I arrive Tuesday. I shave my head on Wednesday. And on Thursday, I engage with Agent Kate Dillon and Lawrence Fishburne. And I'm playing Zero. And I've only read the script a couple times. And I've had no preparation. And I don't speak Japanese. And I'm going, oh my God. But I'm reading, John. And I'm so excited. So every day I was like, okay, what am I doing? And Chad would say, hey, can you say this in Japanese? I said, Chad, you know I don't speak Japanese. I speak German. I speak French. He says, no, I need Japanese. And I understand. So she says, can we do a shorter version of it? So I'm doing Japanese, and then I'm trying to figure out how does Zero move? What's his breathing rhythm? You know, because I've got mine. I know how I move, but how does Zero move? You know, he's a ninja, okay, ninja. But he has Indonesian ninja guys. You know, all these. So I just started playing with the character, and I would present it on the day and movement, and Chad would like it, not like it. I mean, everything was like that. You know, figuring out who Zero is on the day, which I guess in one way took away some of the nerves, because I didn't have time to get nervous. You know, at night, you're like, what am I doing tomorrow? Is he going to call? Is he going to text? You know, but then I'm on set, and then you got to just go in. You know, because you got John Houston, Lawrence Fishburne, and then Keanu, and you just gotta go. You gotta forget all that. Although it was difficult because, right? So the dialogue now there are some people that haven't seen John Wick 3 yet, correct? Okay, so I will not spoil it, but there's a certain scene where I can say some words that ring true from Mark to Keanu. And it was very surreal to be sitting next to somebody that I so admire, you know, not just as a person, but then the character does it too, you know. It was like freaky. And I'm a fan of John Wick, so it was just weird to have seen some of the movies and then be there. You know what I'm saying? Like fighting, but also seeing that I'm fighting, and then so it was an amazing experience. I'm old and I like old school. Audrey Hepburn and Roman Holiday. Love that movie. The King's Speech. Amazing.
Hey, gentlemen in the brown.
G'day Mark, my name's Paul. I'm an actor and have a passion for action. I know there's a couple of subjects here as well. I was wondering if you had any advice for people starting their career and just training regime. What's an average day look like for your mindset? Like what separates the action actors that are working from people that are not? You know, do you have any
In 2 minutes.
That's a great question. But you know, I think for young actors and action people now, I think the best thing to do is to practice on camera. You know, write, create stories, create fight scenes, and think about this. So, what is your sensibility? Because every actor, every person moves differently, right? How does your character move? Is it different from you? And how the fight scene doesn't just start there. How do you enter it and how do you exit it? What is the reason for fighting? And I say that because that brings in the audience and informs the audience of what they're seeing and what the character is. So as a performer, basically I'm saying is that, going back to Bruce Lee, the emotional content of the character will inform the way he or she moves. Does that make sense? And I think that's the difference, is that if you have, you can have great athletes doing all these moves, but if we don't care about them, then we don't care about the moves after a little while. Does that make sense? So feel your movement, like Russo, Daniel, right? Simple, but it meant something to him. You know, and when he says, pow, when he throws his back fist, it means something. You know? So I think it's got to come from within and show without. Does that make sense? And in terms of training, be consistent. You know, 7 days a week. It doesn't mean you go hard 7 days a week. You go maybe 5 days a week hard, and then the other 2 days you stretch your body. You know, you meditate, you take walks, breathing, health. I mean, it's a lot. It's good for you. You know, sleep, water, all the things that we know that we don't do.
Where would I even begin on reflecting on my experiences meeting Mark Dacascos and watching John Wick 3 at the Astor?
I gotta tell you, I've been looking forward to meeting you for a long time. I'm a huge fan, John Wick. And so far, you haven't disappointed.
So I think that out of all the actors and actresses I've met at conventions and other events, Mark is the one who's most unlike his character. Which is a good thing because it shows that he's very versatile. He can star in all sorts of movies and he can act. When I met Sam J. Jones, he was just as loud and charismatic as his character Flash Gordon. When I met Michelle Gomez, she was just as mischievous and wicked as her character Missy. But when I met Mark, I was like, there's no way this kind, sweet, welcoming man can play such a cold assassin. So unlike his character Zero probably would've, Mark did not assassinate me. He had such a soft, welcoming voice so that people meeting him wouldn't feel intimidated by him. He wasn't the type of person who just pretend to smile for photos and act like you don't exist afterwards. He genuinely makes conversation with you and he is so down to earth.
What is your secret for always staying down to earth? Well, I mean, gravity.
One thing my dad did point out is that usually when people interview Mark, they ask about his experience working with Keanu Reeves, because as we all know, Keanu has a reputation for being the most amazing person ever. Like, of course, Keanu is a king, but Mark deserves some hype as well. As if things couldn't get any better, he also liked and commented on my Instagram post. He also shared it to his story. One thing I like about him is that he uses this emoji, so it really shows his chill vibes. And he noticed a pencil in my cosplay. He said it was really funny, so that's a bonus. And I think the pencil actually fell out of my pocket in the cinema, so I'm really sorry to whoever had to clean that up. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to check out my other Astor videos, which I'll be putting on a playlist here or here. I'm not too sure which side it shows up on. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a great day.